Hey everyone, this is the LEGO Jungle Exploration Site, the big set from this sub-theme for this year. Let's get right in and look at some of the cool stuff. Here's one of the new big cats for the summer. This one represents a jaguar, although you could also use it as a leopard if you want, with the tan base color and the black spots here. This one has just a little bit of white applied to the mouth area as well. No actual line printed for the mouth, but they've got just a little bit of the detail molded into that. This has 2 points of articulation. You can bring the head down to make it look like it's sniffing out the trail of a prey animal, or you can bring it up as well, so it's looking up. And then the hind legs are connected together along with the tail, and those just are on a single swivel. And this is a familiar amount of articulation that they've used for large animals in the past, where this whole thing can be brought up. It can actually stand on its hind legs like this, as if it's coming up to a tree or something that it wants to climb because it's interested in something up there. Here's a giant Venus flytrap cup, absolutely enormous relative to the size of the figure, and I think it looks really good. They don't use any print there, it's just using 2 different colors of plastic. It's 2 identical pieces which are connected with a rubber band holding them together, so it'll actually snap shut. You can open this wide, and it kind of has almost a hair trigger on it, just like the real Venus flytraps. You only need to move it in just a little bit and it'll snap close. Here it goes. Oh, wow. Yep, there it goes. It just completely snaps closed. Here's one of the newer style of spider that has just been trapped in there, because each of these pieces, again, they're identical top to bottom, has a stud, a hollow stud at that, so you can attach something on the inside. And they also have that Technic pin hole for attaching the base of it. This one is placed on a ball joint, so it's able to be turned around. That's a really good idea there, so you can really pose it exactly how you want, including kind of presenting it forward like this, which actually makes it even easier to set this off, because then gravity is trying to pull that upper lid down. This is a really cool thing, and they've got a little yellow frog there, which is probably more dangerous to humans than the Venus flytrap that's absolutely giant, and more dangerous than the red spider there. This big terrain build here is very varied. There are many different types of shapes and types of things to interact with your minifigures, and there's plenty of space to pose minifigures all over it. There are different things that you can do with the plane crash site and some of the things that can be climbed upon, and this bit of old jungle temple that is partially exposed above ground at the top of a hill. They use, some preformed pieces, very large preformed pieces, to create a lot of this terrain, and that's just a good, efficient use of the parts count. Actually, it actually, to me, looks pretty good. They put the right amount of extra detail on top. This whole top part of the temple, if you will, is designed to look like a totem of some sort, or a statue, so it has that kind of menacing large mouth look to it. And they've got some nice gold teeth in there. Those are the 90-degree teeth that are hanging down from the top, and it has the eyes. If you want to get up that hill, that small hill, as a minifig, you might just want to grab onto this very convenient vine over here, because look, it has handholds on it. It's a perfect thing to help you get up there. However, that vine is attached to a booby trap at the top. So if you use those strikingly convenient handholds, pull on it, it's going to bring a boulder down on your head. So that's something definitely to watch out for at first. If you do successfully make it up to the top of this thing, and you get to where the treasure is, to where the ancient artifacts are found, and there's a gem there on a pedestal with some golden items around it, well, you're not safe yet. Unfortunately, that's a trapdoor, and you can fall through there. A person got caught there. That is something that I have experienced in trying to experiment with this. I'm glad that it showed up on the first try there. It depends on what your minifig has in their hands. Some of them will get stuck, some of them will fall through. The idea is they're supposed to fall through. Then when it works properly, they slide out the side through this waterfall exit. I wish that was built a little more smoothly so that the figure would be able to slide all the way out into the simulated small river or stream here and possibly even go farther. Instead, the stream seems to be higher up than the person, so the water would actually be flowing into the structure, which is a little weird. Around this side, here's the mechanism that controls the trap door, so you just pull that out, push that in, and there's a little bit of kind of cave space beneath there that can be used for exploration. There isn't anything down there right now, but certainly you can hide things there and just use that space creatively to add to the adventures beyond what's intended to be used from the front of the set. Unfortunately, the second major part of the build here can't really be used on the underside from the back because you've got all this Technic stuff that's just exposed, and they really just have a single main action feature that they've built in there. You see the super obvious red ball end, which is supposed to be a depressor that you would push on, and that just brings the Jaguar out. If you do it slowly and softly, then it's kind of like it's just creeping out, but it doesn't go very far. That's the limit of its travel. It just starts with its nose barely sticking out of the cave and then just sticks out a little bit farther, like the whole head. However, you could also do it more quickly to make it more of a surprise and a shock, but if you do that, okay, that works. Most of the time, when you do that though, the cat just falls over, which is very anticlimactic. Derp. Up above, along with another one of the new spiders on an old web, is this partial plane crash scene, which features a new canopy piece for the plane there, and interestingly, also a new piece that's used beneath it. This is on a swivel, so you can open it up. I appreciate the ability to actually build up an engine on the front of this, or to change out the nose. It'll be interesting to see how they use that on other sets, but this opens up and hey, check that out. A lime green colored old style snake, but there is the other new piece that's used for the base of this. It's similar to parts that we've had before, but it pinches in towards the front from a width of 6 to a width of 4. That's interesting. Can't really do much in here. However, farther back in the remains of the fuselage, it was some precious cargo that's still there. So you can just hop right in there, since everything's all torn up with the fuselage. Just hop in and loot all of that. Looks like it was nicely preserved. None of it flew out during the crash, and nobody has found it since. So just take the entire crate if you want to just do it quickly and easily, or you can just fill up your pockets or a satchel or something. Lots of gold coins and some gems in there. That's good stuff. This big truck is indeed a big truck, and it has a couple of things on it that you can remove to also use for transportation. I like the size and scale of this thing. I like the large openable doors. They've got kind of a suggestion of a step ladder to let you get up inside of there. On the roof rack, they have the new style of kayak that I've looked at in a previous set. It's just a single mold. It actually is able to float, and they also have the new oar or paddle ends that are used on an existing bar piece there. So that can be removed and used by a figure. And then on the back, they also have a bike, which is new, I believe, in this color. It's the orangish yellow or yellowish orange color, and that can just be pulled straight off its mount from the back. And it also has a small kickstand on the side, so it's more secure when it's on the ground. No stickers on that, but it's just good to go. And I also have this crane back here, which you can use with the cargo that's also included in this set, or you can try to use it to connect up to the kayak. Not so much as you can do with the bike to pull that up, but I think the bike is close enough to the ground. They also, for safety's sake, do give you a mount for a helmet, so you don't have to throw that inside. There actually is some interior detail. The main driving compartment has a roof over it that is the new 2017 roof piece that is not sloped at the front. It's only sloped on the sides, and you've seen a bunch of these used in the big bus set. The front, the main driving compartment, doesn't really have much going on for it because it just has a seat and a steering wheel. However, this is more important to remove here, the main roof. This has a mounted microscope there, is the general idea. So you would place an artifact on the red stud on the 2x2 jumper piece and then be able to examine it. And they also have this map here. I don't know if that's supposed to represent a printout of a topographical map or if it's actually a device, a live device, a big old touch screen, tablet, or just a screen in general with a computer that's hidden behind there. But either way, it's a big old sticker that helps you to see where you are. There are also a couple of clips here with accessories for the figures, with just an old pickaxe on one side, and the other side has one of the new machetes. This was actually a pretty simple build, but it looks very cool. It's an amphibious six-wheeler, so you would be able to take it across the river or stream if you want to. It just kind of floats on the top and uses its tires as paddles. And of course, it's very rugged for going over rough terrain. This one has the print of the set, or the print of the entire jungle sub-theme for this year, that one 2x2 tile piece on the front, which is just going to be exclusive for this year. They also have a printed console inside of there, but that's one that we've seen before. This has a couple of clips on it for minifig accessories, with a crowbar on one side and the shovel on the other. Of course, you can move those things around, and this has two spots to hold on to these cargo crates. I've also attached for now this hoop piece, which can be attached to other things and used with the crane. So maybe you would go out to a specific site with this vehicle that's a little bit deeper into the jungle and away from the trails that are accessible by the big truck, and then collect some samples, bring them back, and use the crane to offload them from there. LEGO does a lot of playtesting research with actual kids. So the only logical conclusion I can come to for why they have so many helicopters that they make is that actual kids like to play with helicopters. Now keep in mind that most kids don't get all the sets. So if you see review after review after review after review of set after set after set that all come with helicopters, that is not at all representative of the actual experience of the average LEGO customer. An average kid who's a big fan and has parents that are decently well-to-do, have some extra spending money for toys, may get, a couple sets from one theme, a couple sets from another theme, one set from yet another theme, tend to mix things up, and they might end up with a couple helicopters. They don't end up with all the helicopters that you see me review. This helicopter here specifically, I think, is fine. It uses that same canopy piece that they always use. It's not a particularly interesting design to me overall. I do appreciate the inclusion of the large floating pontoons, although the whole thing doesn't actually float in the water, unfortunately. On this one, I specifically dislike the shape at the back, just how squarish that section is right there, but the colors are nice. The rotor is of a decent size for the overall size. It's not realistic, no, but at least it's not as narrow as it could possibly be. Very simple, but easy access to the control cab section, and they have a winch built into it. You can actually move the arm up and down to move things in and out a little bit, bring a little cargo on board slightly. There's just barely enough room to put something there on the side, or you can just kind of hang something beneath it, which is what most kids would end up doing. Just, let this down. This is obviously the mechanism to control the winch from the side. Just, grab something, pick it up, and drop it off somewhere else. That's what most play pattern, or how most play patterns like this end up going. So I think that for kids, for whom this is actually designed, small, young kids with big imaginations, this looks really cool, and I think that it works just fine. Look over on the far left there. That's Derpy Dude from that big Coast Guard set from this year. He's the owner of the boat that goes up on the rocks and springs a leak. Or he could be someone else who just looks like him, but I want to look at him as being the same guy. That's a cool thought, to have that continuity between different themes and just kind of seeing more of the entire life, the more complete life, and multiple facets of the life of a specific minifigure. Very cool. I very much appreciate that. A bunch of printed stuff here, including the new printed map over on the right, which is specific for this year, for this theme, and a new orienteering compass already. We just got an orienteering style compass in, Series 16? One of the more recent collectible minifigure series, with the backpacker or hiker in that, but this one's on a 1x2 tile rather than a 1x1, a little bit more realistic, a little bit more complete that way. These are all nicely outfitted. I definitely could have gone for consistently gender neutral torsos across this entire theme. I see absolutely no reason to add in the waistlines for the female figures here, because the regular torsos would work just perfectly fine and would make it a lot easier and more sensible to just swap heads back and forth if you want to customize your figures and make them male or female however you want. Here's the helicopter pilot, an ex-military engineering corps gearhead to work on stuff when it breaks down, and one extra explorer. You get some extra accessories with these as well. I'm glad to see yet another of the machete, or as Americans usually say, machetes, and also the nice backpack piece, which is pretty large and well detailed. Not new, but I like it. And that backpack was hiding the same print that was on the back of this guy. Lastly, we get a life jacket for driving the amphibious vehicle around safely, a small camp stove with a small pan on top of it, and a poultry leg, a very small campfire, and you can see this as either an alligator or a crocodile, whichever you prefer. Yes, there are differences between the two in real life, and this is more like one than the other, but it's just a kid's toy with the power of imagination. You can make it be either, and it's okay. Good big play set with lots of things to do, lots of minifigures, lots of places to put them. Good themes here, a good positive thing that just really supports imagination as well as just the general idea of sciences and exploration. The one thing that I don't like here is this action feature for the Jaguar cave, which I think is completely unnecessary. It just doesn't work well. So I think the set would have been better off with just an empty space inside of there to give you more play space. Maybe they could have finished off the back a little bit better without the Technic beams showing, and then kids just could use the space for whatever they want. Or they could have, the designers could have applied that same parts budget to doing something else elsewhere on the set. Otherwise, good stuff, no real complaints. And that's it from me. Now it is your turn to share what you think, because your opinion is very, very valuable, not just to myself, but to other viewers as well. So please share a quick little bit of feedback down below in the comment section. I'm going to get to work on the next video, so I'll talk to you again soon.